Hello again and welcome to another Nick Beck's Watch Reviews. Today I bring you an absolutely brand new Seiko Landmaster watch. This is a compass watch chronograph, and I shall go through everything with you in a second and just give you a kind of rundown on the watch. I've literally just received it today, so I haven't had time to do much research on it and to look much and see what the functions and features it has. So this is going to be kind of a fairly basic review, and a bit later on, once I'm used to it and I know what's what, I'll probably do a follow-up review. So as I say, this is a Seiko chronograph Prospex, and I would just like to say I purchased this from AMJ Watches. I ordered it on Sunday and today is Wednesday, and I actually got it this morning, and I'd just like to say I thoroughly recommend them. The price was brilliant, thanks to the taxman realising I'd paid him too much. I could afford to buy myself a new watch. So yeah, AMJ Watches in Nottinghamshire, absolutely fantastic service. Kept me up to date with emails right up until telling me the dispatch was going to happen, and it was sent Royal Mail special delivery before 1 o'clock, and I even got an email telling me the tracking code for Royal Mail, so I knew exactly when it was going to come. So yeah, 10 out of 10 to AMJ Watches in Nottinghamshire, absolutely fantastic. So that's past the recommendations. So let me tell you a little bit about the watch. So if I just grab the tag, as I always do, as you can see, this is a Seiko Prospex, with a little Seiko Prospex logo there, the little X. And Prospex, I do believe, is professional specifications. So you probably all knew that, but I've only just found out. So this is the reference SSC737P1, and it's a solar caliber V176, I think that is. Yes, V176. So like I say, it's a solar powered watch, so no batteries needed. And without further ado, let me show you the watch. So as you can see, it's a chronograph, and it has a rather terrific blue dial with grey subdials. You've got the black moving bezel with the compass. And I must say, I was a bit worried because I've had a compass watch before and the bezel kinds of knock really easily. This one's actually quite stiff. I don't think it's going to knock in a hurry. I think you'd have to give it quite a jolt to do that. So it's quite a nice compass bezel. So like I say, as you can see, it's got a blue dial with the chronograph subdials in grey. And we have, I think it's 1/20th of a second, 1 minute, and then the main second hand on the watch is the chronograph hand. Now towards the 9 o'clock dial you have the small seconds. As you can see under the hand, under the minute hand, it's Seiko applied logo, and you have these rather nicely done Arabic numerals, Seiko Prospex trademark there, little X, and it's 20 bar, so it's 200 millimeters waterproof. You have the date at 3 o'clock, and that's got a lovely frame in silver. The lume on this watch, which I will show you, is the hands, the pip on the top of the main second hand, and there's a pip at the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. And it's a pretty good lume. I mean, you literally need a tiny bit of daylight, and it glows. So it's typical Seiko lume. It's very impressive. Now, it's, as I said, it's 200 meters. You can see there it's a screw down crown, and this is a little bit odd with this crown. Rather than the kind of general crown, I'll just screw that back in to start the watch. I'm getting used to this. Oh, there we go. It's a little spring and a little notch there. Oh, that's easy. So yeah, rather than the general use of the crown is you pull 1 click to set the date and then 2 clicks to set the hands. This one is the other way round. So it's 1 click to set the hands once the crown's released from the screw down, and then 2 clicks to change the date. I'm not sure why they've done that, but it, it's no big deal. It works nicely. So like I say, you've got this black iron plated compass bezel. Now, I'm not quite sure how the compass works on the watch, but I will look into it. And when I do a further review on this watch, I'll run through that. So turning the watch onto the side, you have these fantastic fluted push buttons for the chronograph. And if I just push this, you'll see the 12 o'clock dial move very, very quickly, 1/20th of a second. And you can see the big second hand going. And stop it with the top button and reset it with a kind of regular bottom button, and it goes back to the beginning again. So the watch case diameter in 316 stainless steel is 44 millimeters across. It has a depth or a thickness of 14 millimeters, and the lug to lug, I've just measured it, and I'm getting about 52 to 54 lug to lug. The lug width for the calf leather strap is 22, and you have the really handy kind of holes in the lugs, so you don't have to kind of use a tool to poke around in ever changing the strap. What I love about this watch, and if I just open up the calf leather strap, now the strap is extremely stiff. It really is. It's quite thick. And it's very, very nicely made. If I just take that back into there we go. You can see it's got a bit of a texture, but it's quite smooth, but it is very, very thick. And like I say, it's a typical Seiko calf 22 millimeter lug. And I got that upside down. Flip that up the right way. And as you can see, the watch back is a screw down back. And you have all these kind of markings of your International Rescue and the Seiko Prospex logo in the center. It's a screw down case back, and like I say, it's really cool. And once I kind of get to know what all this means, I will do another review on the watch and to let you know how I'm getting on with it, if there's anything I don't like about it, what not, and see if I can run through a few of those things. So like I say, it's a lovely watch. I'm very impressed with it. Although it's 44 millimeter case, it doesn't actually appear 44 millimeter on the wrist, and I will show you some wrist shots. I would say it probably comes up more of a 42 to look at. I guess that's because the lugs are quite curved around the wrist. And as you can see, most of the case is polished, and just on top of the lugs is brushed. The rear of the case is brushed. There we go. And there's a fantastic little detail I like. You can't see it in this light maybe, but there's almost like a stripe that divides the case in half, and that's brushed. So it kind of gives it a little bit more texture and a little bit more depth. You can see the iron coated or plated notches on the bezel. And the bezel, I must admit, is one of the things that really impressed me. I had a compass watch before, and the bezel was really loose, and just a tiny little knock, and it would, almost spin 3/4 of the way round. This is quite stiff, and I don't think that's going to knock very easy. It's a lovely smooth action, but it's quite stiff, which I think is quite a handy thing. Like I say, the strap itself is pretty stiff, and it's brand new, so it's going to take a little while to break in, but it seems to be getting there already. You see the brushed buckle with the Seiko logo. So yeah, it's not really a lot more I can say about this watch at the moment, because it's brand new and I haven't had a chance to look at it and kind of look through the specs and what have you. So what I do, I'm going to go on to a couple of wrist shots, and then I will put up some loom shots. Now the loom seems to be on the hands. There's a pip on the top of the large second hand, and if I start the chronograph, you can see the large second hand about 2/3 of the way up. There's a round pip that's luminous, and then 12, 3, 6 and 9, they're more pips. And that's how the loom seems to be, and it's Typical Seiko. Brilliant. I'm really impressed with that already. So without further ado, let me pop it on the wrist and see what you think. And there we go. That's the wrist shot. And as you can see, I don't know if it's just me, but it doesn't wear huge. It actually wears quite nice. It's quite, you know, it's quite noticeable. But it's a fairly eye-catching watch because it seems to be very detailed. But it certainly doesn't look huge. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. Like I say, the strap's going to take a little bit of time to break in, but it seems to be, you know, it's pretty good. So that's a wrist shot for you. There we go. I'll try and sort of zoom in and out a little bit to give you a little bit more idea of the polish case and the, like I say, it's got a curved domed crystal, which gives it really nice kind of distortions. So there we go. Yeah, so it's a pretty impressive watch. So far so good. It's I've only had it a day, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a keeper. I need an everyday watch, and I think this lives up to the great Seiko logo there. I'm really into Seikos now. I think they're fantastic. I really don't think you can get a better watch for your money. I think the automatics are fantastic. I think the quartz chronos are brilliant. Like I say, this is a solo chrono. It's 200-meter waterproof. You get the Hardlex crystal. Yeah, it's a screw down crown. The details of this watch are just superb. It's not heavy, but it feels substantial. It's kind of got that pebble feeling again, which I've mentioned in a previous video. So yeah, like I say, I really can't say enough about Seiko watches. I love them. I think Seiko is probably my favorite make. So there we go. That's the new Seiko Landmaster. Like I say, any comments or any questions, please leave in the box below. Please subscribe. That'd be fantastic. I'm really kind of pushing up to 200 subscriptions now, and that's really, really cool for me. Like I say, I never expected one. Thanks to everybody that watches my videos, everybody that makes kind comments and all the feedback you give me. I really appreciate it, and like I say, I really enjoy doing this. So without further ado, I'll say thank you very much, and I'll see you again probably with a more in-depth review of this watch. Thanks a lot.